Hi, everybody. Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot, where we spread light and love and angelic vibes across the universe. Thrilled to have you here. If you would be so kind, give me a like or subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. We also, in addition to doing some astrology and tarot here, we also help to solve crimes. And sometimes we give out important messages to the community. So, one of those is Google, we should talk. Whoever set up the fake business in my name needs to go to jail for fraud and identity theft. And the IRS needs to know basically what they've handled regarding taxes, etc. Um, I know I was duped, right? And I believe you probably were too. Certainly, there were energy vampires who were voyeuring me in my house and sucked me dry of ideas and resources and things. And I just want you to know I'm not going to accept any deals that involve voyeurs, witches, or warlocks. So I'm not dealing with dark energies, and you just need to know that straight up front. So, secondarily, I haven't received any paperwork, but there was also a fake reality TV show that was run through my house, and I'm really not happy about that. I don't know if you had any involvement in that or not, but I want the names of everybody who was a participator on that show because it basically was a porn show with my shower being wired and everything that we did in our house being filmed. So that's the part that I'm really not happy about. So you need to cough up all of the names of the people who were paying for porn to the FBI so that they can be charged for sex trafficking. Okay, that's something to just put in your think tank there. I also have a message for local sheriffs. I have been told that somebody is likely to call in a fake domestic dispute at my house over the holidays. And I'm just going to warn you right now that's going to be a fake call. Don't show up. My husband and I are getting along fine. We aren't going to be fighting over the holidays. The entire thing is to cause some kind of ruckus. So just so you know, don't come, don't bother us. We're going to be holidaying. I want you to holiday. It's going to be a fake call that somebody's doing just to cause trouble. So don't waste your time. And if for some reason you feel absolutely compelled, call and I'll come down. But really, just don't bother. It's just a ruse. Um, Also, to the person who wants to send me a Christmas basket that I don't know, don't send it. I'm going to throw it out. I don't care if it has stuff to eat, treats for the cat. Why? Because my husband's been poisoned 3 times from some of this group. And so, that basket's going to go straight into the garbage. So save your money. All right. So those are the important community messages for today. Now, that being said, I just want to let people know how grateful I am for all the help that I have received with all of the various cases that have happened to me. But we are going to go ahead and dive into some astrology. And of course, I like to use the cards to highlight things. I've always been more of an astrologer than a card reader, though I've messed with the cards for decades. But my true talent is in doing the actual astrology, which is how I solved my own crime. And let me tell you, I know that the FBI knows that I'm pretty much dead on accurate, right? So, anyhow, I got something going. I'm not going to say I'm always going to make correct predictions. This is an entertainment site after all, and everything needs to be taken in vain of that, right? But I do have an uncanny ability to see things that are behind the veil. And we are going to talk about Neptune, which is all about things that are behind the veil. We've been doing this series. It's the high vibe series when Neptune or Pisces are operating as they should be in various houses. And today we're going to talk about how it works when it's on a high vibe in the 7th house. And the 7th house is all about the very close relationships in our life, Many people call it the marriage house for that very reason. But it's also a place where you can encounter business associates, close business partners. And what people often don't know is that it is also the house of open enemies. So you might think just because somebody's, such and such planet falls in your seventh house, they're a potential lover. In reality, they could be a potential enemy. But we're going to deal with that part of things later when we get into what happens when Neptune is off kilter. Okay, so we're not going to even delve into the negative end of things. We're just keeping it on the high vibe for the Christmas season. So, on a high vibe, when Neptune is here, partners can be either hoping to save or be saved. It has kind of a bit of a savior complex to it. And this can play itself out in unique ways. This can be a partner helping another partner through a sickness or a serious injury, like being in a wheelchair, for example. There can be a lot of love involved in this care, for example, but you can also wear rose-colored glasses with a partner at this time. And you can have a tendency, because Neptune does this, to sacrifice yourself for a loved one. The true goal is for you to do the service of love that you need to do without getting swallowed entirely by that sacrifice. Okay. And I can give you a perfect example. Yes, I did heal myself from this, but I went through a deadly bout of cancer about 19 years ago. And my husband had Neptune moving through his seventh house. And he most certainly helped me on a very soulful, love-filled mission to get me through the dark night of the soul of that illness. And he did it with love, sacrifice, and a deep soul connection, down to the point that he even shaved his head with me. And at that time, I had very long blonde hair. So I shaved mine before I even went in. He shaved his at the same time. That's the kind of thing you can see with that love connection in the seventh house. It can be very selfless. The key is when you're going through this is to make sure that the partner that has the Neptune in this house is also having their needs met at the same time too. So you're going to be very giving, but just don't give to the point that there's nothing left, right? You can also, with a partner in the seventh house, set someone up on a pedestal, right? You can just idealize them. And if you've judged their character well, this can really lead to a great connection with somebody. Your romance can be happy, can be truly a beautiful thing. However, if there are illusions going on, if you aren't seeing things as you should be, if you're not, you haven't figured out their character well enough, then you can come to serious disillusionments as the ugly and rage-filled emotions and whatnot start to emerge. So things like jealousy and rage and just the sense that you're pouring your love into an empty cup. Okay, now you will be very inspired to attract partners who are dreamy or romantic, artistic, or talented creatively. Those are the kinds of people that you're going to want to draw in. You could also, oddly, because Neptune rules the sea, draw in people like boat captains, oceanographers, marine biologists, or even dream counselors, because Neptune has much to do with the dream world. Those that you connect to spiritually will also magically drift across your path. And of course, idealization is certainly a part of this. So expect a very daydreamy, loving kind of romance with unconditional love and a powerful emotional connection to occur if you're working on the truly high vibing end and being clear about who your partner is. Now, in terms of business partners, and this is discs, so discs always has to do with work, you can expect a lot of various negotiations to ensue. Just be sure, again, not to martyr yourself to keep the connection intact. And it's also very important, once again, to accurately assess the character of the person that you are dealing with, because if it's not vibing well, you can most certainly run into a lot of fraudsters in this house. And we're not going to get into that right now, but that's definitely the low vibing end of the potentiality. And of course, dealing with that could most certainly bring in financial worry, contracts that look gloomy, just trouble in that sector. Now, the final message for Neptune in the 7th house is love with an open heart, but don't get deluded along the way, right? Be realistic, but love with a big and wide and open heart. Okay, so that's Neptune in the 7th, but I'm going to go ahead and do Neptune in the 6th as well, because these are kind of short. And again, you can go look up your own charts, get a free natal chart, so you can start to figure out where these planets fall in your chart. So you can start to put sense to what's going on, right? And you need to pay attention to the sign on the cusp of the house, right? So right now, though, we're going to deal with what it means when you have Neptune in the 6th house. Here we've got 1 pentacle, so it's like work beginning on a high vibe level. So, and Neptune in this house has everything to do with work, everyday schedules, and various health regimes that you have. Most especially those that entail natural healing modalities like yoga, meditation, herbs, raw foods, juicing. Neptune rules over fluids and water, so hydrotherapy or dance aerobics that you do in the pool are great possibilities. Because Neptune, however, can have an illusory quality to it, if you aren't tapping into all of those, veggies and juicing and all of this, you can actually run into diseases in this house that are very hard to pinpoint. Things like lupus or even joint arthritis, which a lot of natural healers attribute to anger that you hold inside that basically creates tension in the joints. All right, so Neptune by nature is ruled by Virgo, and Virgo has everything to do with work, being of service to the world. This is my service card because it's all the hands helping and finding perfect systems to make your occupation flow very smoothly. So processes and procedures and daily schedules are very highlighted. Developing talents and skills to improve your work performance are also very important so that you can perfect your craft. Now, with Neptune here, you will also want to connect to coworkers on a soul level and find soulfulness in your work. Hence the desire to help make the world a better place through service. That's always going to come to the forefront with this. There's always going to be a desire to be of service. Now, also attention to detail will be necessary with this placement. And yet with Neptune here, that attention to detail may be very hard to find. Mahatma Gandhi had Neptune in the 6th house. And those who help veterans with emotional issues through healing modalities like hypnotherapy, various counseling techniques, social work, or massage are also highlighted. As is dance church, which is one of the things that I have done over the years and absolutely loved. This is a great way for you to take all of the energy and emotions that you have and dance them out, rather than holding those emotions inside where they can cause all kinds of bodily damage and harm to both your spirit, your soul, and your body. You dance all of that energy out, and that can bring in vibrant health. It's a way to work out your kinks and sweat your prayers via dance. Okay. And in the 6th house, practitioners recognize that our emotional health has enormous impact on our spirits as well as our bodies. So you might also find people who run soup kitchens, homeless shelters, and things of that nature. Now here you can see this person has enlightenment happening here, and they're trying to brew up enlightenment and bring transformation. So spiritual retreat centers can readily spring from this house too. Places like yoga centers or spots that teach healthy eating techniques or juicing. The use of seaweed in body wraps and as a source of food is also highlighted because it can ward off the impacts of radiation. And a great example of this was a book I read about the macrobiotic diet, where there was a doctor in Hiroshima after the nuclear bomb went off, and he immediately advised all of his staff to start eating macrobiotic foods. And that includes a lot of seaweeds because he knew that seaweed has the ability to absorb radiation. And in fact, his staff performed so much better than everybody else in terms of illnesses and deaths. And I have to say that, using the power of seaweed to heal is a very, very Neptunian energy. It draws on the mighty power of the ocean, and it did exactly what this doctor felt like it would do. And in fact, foods of all sorts, most especially fruits and vegetables and raw foods, have great healing potential. I ate raw foods for about 8 years, all raw, to survive my bout of unsurvivable cancer, which is how, again, I get the strength to overcome difficult situations. And yes, I may still have a day or two where, the sex trafficking portion of what happened to me gets to me. And yet, overall, I'd say I'm doing pretty well, right? I'm a pretty strong person. I've got a huge spirit. So, all right. In addition to health, service, and everyday work, the sixth house has a whole lot to do with the love and care of pets. So with Neptune here, you might work in an animal shelter or raise service animals for wounded vets or the blind, or even find yourself donating to causes like PETA, which I've donated to, despite what Divine Masculine said, and the Rolling Rock Ranch, where they craft little tiny wheelchairs for various pets who have lost their appendages so they can walk and be joyful and still have a fun and playful life. And I have supported that cause as well. Now, the final message of Neptune in the sixth is heal thyself and others if you can. It's one of the most profound messages that can flow out of a sixth house Neptune energy. Now, that being said, I don't know what's all happening behind the scenes. Google, come talk to me, right? I'm a reasonable person. I hear stuff may be happening. I'm not so upset about people sucking my energy dry and making a fake business online in my name, from what I'm gathering. But I'm really upset about a fake reality TV show, as would any normal human being. I want the names of every single person who was in on that, and money that was earned off of images of my husband and I should be coming back to us. And the people that were in on it need to be reported to the FBI and reported for sex trafficking and pornography. So I just thought I'd be real, me, I'm upfront and honest, right? And this kind of stuff has to stop in the universe. So anyhow, I wish everybody well. God bless. May angelic vibes fill your households over the holiday season. May you find the Neptunian love and energy in your life, and have a great Christmas season. Take care.